The golden retriever nuzzled the tiny lion cub with a tenderness that defied nature itself. Rico, a farm dog in rural Kenya, had just lost her own puppies to illness when the rangers brought the orphaned cub to the Thornwood Wildlife Sanctuary. The moment they placed the mewling, helpless creature beside her, something ancient and primal awakened in Rico's heart. She began licking the cub clean, and from that instant, an impossible bond was forged. They named the cub Tao, and for the first 6 months of his life, he knew nothing but the warmth of Rico's fur and the safety of her constant presence. He nursed alongside the sanctuary's other rescued animals, his tiny paws kneading Rico's belly just like any puppy would. The staff watched in amazement as Rico taught Tao everything she knew. She showed him how to play, how to explore, and most importantly, how to trust. When Tao stumbled on unsteady legs, Rico was there to catch him. When thunderstorms rolled across the savannah, she curled her body around his, absorbing his fear with patient devotion. But everyone knew this couldn't last forever. As Tao grew, his playful swats became powerful blows. His teeth, once harmless nubs, transformed into 3-inch daggers. By his first birthday, Tao weighed over 200 pounds, and Rico, aging and arthritic, struggled to keep up with her adopted son's boundless energy. The sanctuary director, James Bennett, made the heartbreaking decision that animal welfare experts had been recommending for months. Tao needed to be separated from Rico and gradually introduced to other lions in the rehabilitation program. The goal was eventual release into a protected reserve where he could live as nature intended. The separation was devastating. Tao roared for 3 days straight, refusing food and pacing his enclosure with desperate confusion. Rico whined and scratched at the gates, her eyes fixed on the distant sound of her cub's anguished calls. The staff tried everything to comfort both animals, but the grief seemed insurmountable. James questioned his decision 100 times, watching Rico lose weight and Tao grow increasingly aggressive with handlers. Weeks turned into months. Tao slowly adjusted to his new life, learning to interact with other rescued lions and developing the skills he would need for survival. Rico, however, never recovered her old spirit. She moved through her days like a ghost, occasionally lifting her head when the wind carried Tao's distant roar across the sanctuary grounds. The staff showered her with extra attention, but everyone could see that a piece of her soul had been carved away. Then came the day that changed everything. A massive wildfire, sparked by lightning during the dry season, swept toward the sanctuary with terrifying speed. Flames consumed the grasslands, moving faster than anyone anticipated. James and his team worked frantically to evacuate the animals, but chaos erupted when several enclosures were compromised by falling trees. In the confusion and smoke, Rico bolted from her handler, running straight toward the fire. She had heard something no human could detect. Through the roar of flames and cracking wood, through the screams of frightened animals and shouting staff, Rico heard Tao. His enclosure gate had jammed, trapping him as fire closed in from 3 sides. The young lion threw himself against the barrier repeatedly, panic overwhelming his strength. Rico reached the enclosure before any human could stop her. She barked frantically, and incredibly, Tao stopped his frantic attempts to break free. Their eyes met through the bars. In that moment, the months of separation vanished. Tao began digging furiously at the base of the gate where erosion had weakened the foundation, while Rico dug from the outside, her paws bleeding as she tore through dirt and stone. James and 2 rangers arrived just as the gap became large enough. Tao squeezed through, and, without hesitation, he positioned himself between Rico and the advancing flames. Together, dog and lion ran through a narrow corridor not yet consumed by fire, Tao's massive body shielding Rico from falling embers. They emerged on the far side of the sanctuary just as the fire suppression helicopters arrived, collapsing together in an exhausted heap. The fire was contained. Every animal survived, but it was Rico and Tao's reunion that captured hearts worldwide when the sanctuary's security footage went viral. The video showed their desperate collaboration, their unwavering determination to save each other, and finally, their tearful reunion as Rico licked Tao's singed mane and the massive lion gently nuzzled his mother with a tenderness that proved love knows no species. James made a new decision that day. A special habitat was constructed where Rico could visit Tao safely, with barriers that allowed them to see, smell, and interact without danger. They spent their afternoons together until Rico passed away peacefully 3 years later, with Tao's enormous paw pressed against the fence, touching hers one final time. Tao was eventually released into the wild, but rangers report he sometimes returns to the reserve's edge, sitting quietly near the place where Rico is buried, a king paying tribute to the queen who taught him how to love. If this story touched your heart, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible true animal stories that prove love transcends all boundaries.